What is up, YouTube? Planned Brotherhood back with another video today. So, a lot has changed since the last time we recorded. So, we'll outline that real quick before we get into it. Care to explain our wine today? First?
Today, we have a neighbor of mine has a grandfather that has brewed their own wine. And so we're going to be trying this today. So they gave it to us. So shout out to Anthony Scopatulo for giving us this opportunity to try his wine.
Big shout out. Big up to Anthony.
Yeah, big ups to Anthony.
Okay.
We have a special guest here today. Special guest to Harris. He's going to be taking the place of Gabe. But yeah, so this is there's not a type of wine. This is just a locally stored. It's got a little bit of bubbles in it, which
I like the look of that. It makes me happy. So, I guess we should really talk about what we're doing now, because we changed everything. We changed the name of the channel, the name of the segment. We're changing the layout of the podcast itself. The only thing that hasn't changed is our very poor budgeting with the charcuterie. It seems to go downhill.
it's part of the bit.
Every time.
No, this is better than the last one we had.
I don't know about that. You
Yeah,
didn't
nice
even
flush
wash the grapes.
No, I didn't. I can taste the pesticides on them.
Oh God.
They're a little chalky.
So we changed our channel name from Uncorked because we didn't want our channel to be designated only to wine-related videos, because we found that it was unsustainable
To
drink 2 to 3 bottles of wine per episode in an hour or less, typically 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So we changed it from Uncorked to Planned Brotherhood because, we've known each other for quite a long time, 4 years old. So we've just been brothers, the brotherhood type of podcast. I'm yapping now, but
yeah.
basically we changed everything. Uncorked will now be the segment, not Wine Review Wednesday.
I agree.
So we just need to get that on the table, let everybody know why everything's different.
Things are changing around here.
It's not wine-oriented anymore. It's just wine-accompanied.
Yeah.
So we will be drinking wine. We'll talk about it very shortly.
Speaking of, I want to try it. I want to try it.
Okay.
Because
it hasn't rested for 15 minutes.
I don't give a shit if it rested for 15 minutes. Oh.
Clink, drink.
Clink and drink. I don't know if I'm supposed to be... It's good.
I actually really like that.
It's really good. Don't know if I'm supposed to be drinking it.
Why?
It's fizzy, and I can't see through it. And I don't know anything about wine when it comes to being made in a...
It is fizzy. Is that concerning? Should we be scared?
I don't know. Let's
they
just
gave
get
it
sick.
to you, so it must have been...
Let's just drink it.
They wouldn't have given it to you if it wasn't ready for consumption, no?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer to any of these. I just was handed the bottle.
But why is it fizzy?
I don't know. Maybe we shake it a little bit. It won't be so fizzy. I really don't know. I like it though.
I wasn't scared until you mentioned that. I didn't know that there was something to be concerned about.
I can see through a little bit.
I can see through it.
It's actually really good
It's
though.
ruby. It's not garnet. So
I love
you
this.
can see through it, but...
I think it's delicious. It has a really funky smell to it. It smells like shiitake mushrooms, but...
I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's delicious.
For red wine, definitely not a red wine guy, but I could actually get behind that. Drink a whole bottle of it, perhaps.
So where have we been for a month?
You can start, because I introed the video. So.
Okay, well, I was in France. You want to ask me about France?
I guess I have to, right?
I want you to ask me about France.
How was France?
So I went to a Michelin star restaurant in France. And
great tires, by the way.
Yeah, great tires. You know why? They
it's sponsored by Michelin.
Yeah, it's the same.
That's actually why.
That's true. But do you know why?
Because didn't they do a restaurant thing in a magazine one time? Something like that.
Harris can totally fact check me on this. Maybe Harris can be a fact checker today. But from what I understand, the tires company was supposed to be like, yeah, we'll give this Michelin star because it's worth driving this far to go visit the restaurant.
But now it's like a real thing.
Well, that's like a real thing, and as a matter of fact, this was probably one of my least favorite restaurants that I went to in all of France. Was
Michelin star doesn't really mean a whole lot.
No, it doesn't. It just actually means you're in a tourist spot. And also, on top of that, I've heard that if you're in a Michelin star restaurant, it tends to be not very good for business for the restaurants. Like a lot of Michelin star restaurants end up closing down, which is really interesting to me, and I don't know why. I think maybe because the standards for what you anticipate it to be are so high like me, I'll never go back there again. I thought it was $450 for you go in, you
well,
sit
maybe
down.
because they think they can charge more for having the star, but then people realize it wasn't supposed to be that great.
I don't know. I paid
$450 a lot though for anything.
For anything, but you go, you don't pay anything when you get there. They give you an appetizer, an entree, a plate.
But you have to pay for all that.
It comes with the $450 reservation.
Oh.
A glass of wine.
Okay.
Champagne.
I didn't know you paid just to reserve.
You paid to reserve, and it comes with all this.
Okay.
You get a dessert. You get to choose.
That's not including the price of the entrees.
No, the entree's included in that too.
Oh, okay. Well,
so it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
And the Eiffel Tower in Paris, not too bad, but you're still paying.
I think you got Eiffel Tower with that price.
That's going in the notes. Oh my God! Speaking of, I'll tell you. I'll say it after. Anyway, so I wasn't a big fan.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't think it's worth paying $450 to go and.
I don't think it's worth $450 for
sit in a building
any food.
Made of iron.
I wouldn't pay for any food. With that.
Ever.
There's no like value of food behind that.
I agree.
I can't picture myself paying for 2 people for that food for any food. There's no food good enough for that for me.
It depends. Depends about the amount.
But
if it's just for me,
can you really eat $450 worth of food
Wagyu?
sitting anyway?
It's just my grape is jizz in your pants. I'm sorry. You look very good today, by the way.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I got my whole Marshall's outfit on.
Oh, nice. I have no shoes.
It's a fancy Marshall's outfit.
Maybe this one tastes like feet because people mash, the grape. What do they do? Never mind. Sorry, that was dumb. I'm getting looks from Paris. I'm sorry.
Where else were you?
I was in a French. So what I think you should do is subscribe to I have an OnlyFans now. I'm doing an OnlyFans debrief on the internet. I dare you to go find it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have one.
You can't just pretend that that's true and then.
It's not true. It's absolutely not true.
Okay. Well, then we're moving on from that. Anything else you want to elaborate?
Yeah, I do. I went to a really nice brunch. I stayed at my girlfriend's house. I had this thing called raclette, and we just had this cheese spread, and the cheese melts on this hot pan that you put in on the table. And then you melt it, the cheese, on this thing. And then after you put it on some, potatoes. And that was good. I'm going back again in 3 weeks. I have nothing else to say. And they fucked me. Because the flight was supposed to be, $500, and it ended up being $1,000. Okay. So I also have no money. I'm in credit card debt again. I got out of
you keep going
$15,000 debt just to go back.
It's inevitable.
That's really unfortunate for me. Yeah, it's really awful.
Yeah.
So I had something I wanted to tell you. I don't like silence, so I'm gonna keep talking. But feel free to interrupt me whenever.
Okay, go ahead.
I was telling you in the car about hot take. That's not a hot take. That I think kids with ADHD, we should. This is not my joke, by the way. Kids with ADHD, we should bring them somewhere for the summertime.
Okay.
Because I think they really need help focusing. And we could have, a camp or something. It sounds like a good idea, no?
I know where this is going.
What? What?
You're going to say a concentration camp. And I'm pretty sure that was a Family Guy joke, wasn't it?
I don't know. I got this. I said this is not my joke. Yes, a concentration. Yeah, I got it from Jamie.
And just like that, we're canceled at episode 1 of season 2.
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, personally, I have been here the whole time. But the reason why we haven't made a video is we've been very busy. I started college courses. You're in the middle of it anyway already, and then you've had trips back to France and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I had 4 classes plus my union class for our electrical. I've just been a lot of scholar vibes lately. But
how's the classes going? Easy, hard? Are you happy?
I think it's tedious. It's not really that difficult, especially when you have a lot of resources at your fingertips, be it
ChatGPT.
Chat. I more so use chat just to verify, make sure that I'm not crazy, because I do intend to learn.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not just going and putting every answer in. But I also don't, I want to pass, so verification is not a bad use for that. But yeah, I've just been doing school. So that's been a lot of work for me, and now we have some free time, settled down a little bit, finished one of my classes, it was accelerated.
Nice.
So now you caught up on your stuff. So now we're making this video.
Wait, so I have a question. This made me think about ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And something that's been really irritating me with ChatGPT is that schools are really against you using it for like pretty much anything, and I think it's kind of dumb. And so,
well, you don't learn that way.
Okay, but here's the thing. It depends, right? Because like, say if I write a paper and I have all my own original ideas and I write the paper and then I submit the paper, but the only thing that I didn't do was like, hey, ChatGPT, can you review this and make it more concise or more clear what I'm trying to say?
Well, then you don't learn the skill of being clear and concise when you know you don't have to try to do it on your own.
Fair enough. But if I'm doing a class on psychology or economics, I get that communicating is a big part of the class. But at the same time, if I have the tools to be able to be more clear and concise, like, why not? Like, it's the same argument for like, oh, well, you don't, why use a calculator? Because you're not getting the tools of how to do all the intermediary steps of
the
like,
only thing
using a
is
calculator.
like the way I see it, and there was a quote from somebody I learned in class for electrical school last year, and they said, I don't remember who it was, but they said, if you can't explain I think it was an Einstein quote, if you can't explain something simply, then you don't really know it. So if you can't explain something concisely and clearly, then do you really know the subject like you say that you do? And if you don't have to explain it like clear and concise, then did you really learn anything? Or did you just learn how to go in the book, find the answer, and then reword it into your own words?
So I still get the point. But take, for instance, like using a thesaurus to find substitute words in an essay. Like,
like a synonym?
Yeah, if you want to find a synonym. Like, you could argue that, oh, well, you're not going to increase your vocabulary by using a thesaurus.
But you will, though, because you found that word and used it in a sentence.
But if you use ChatGPT to see how you could have write something more concisely, maybe you have the idea, but you just don't have the skills to write something out in a neat and orderly way, then I think ChatGPT can like facilitate you in seeing how it should be written properly.
Yeah, but do you actually read it when they rewrite it for you?
Well, hold on, I do. Because
yeah, but not everybody does.
In the same way, I have the intent to learn, as you do.
Exactly, but we're like the 1%.
So
you think most people do not care; they just want the paper.
And what about? Okay, and fair enough. And I think there are some kids who would definitely just submit a paper without ever looking at it or having a single idea of their own.
There's people that pay other people to write papers for them and then submit those without reading them.
Like at the same time,
they don't even know if it's good or not.
Like for your argument, I would say like, okay, then you shouldn't be able to use spell check either, because you should learn how to spell, and if you're using
because spell check is more of a writing quickly and mess up the word, and like that's a proofreading thing. I know how to spell the word, but if I'm typing it like that, my hands aren't always that accurate. So that's not to learn how to spell things necessarily. You could use it for that too, but like
I guess
for me, it's like I type like a million miles an hour and I mess things up and I just go back and fix the word after.
I look like a cripple when I type. like my fingers are stiff and I use 2 at a time. It's really awful.
I type very well.
I absolutely should have failed my elementary school typing classes.
That would have definitely held you back.
Yeah, you remember those games?
Mm-hmm.
You have to. Those were pretty cool. Except I cheated.
JKL semicolon, bro.
I don't. Yeah. Thumbs on the space bar. Yeah, it's funny because I never had the want to learn how to type correctly. I was just like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna type with 2 fingers.
You don't really need to know how to type correctly, because now we have like speech diction where you can just talk and say what you want to type. But
if I was a teacher who was teaching you how to type, and I was like, well, why do I gotta type? I have speech, text to speech, and you're like, well, you're not gonna learn the skill how to type. I would say, well, then I guess typing is kind of obsolete, isn't it?
No, it's not.
But you can still text. You could type.
Because
you could
in a work setting, you're not gonna do that. That's like an essay at
working
home.
from home.
Yeah, but like, what percentage of the population works at home full time?
Oh, full time? No, you're right about
Not
that.
very many. Not a lot of people even work at home in general. That's just like reserved for the upper boss people.
Which we should bring back.
I think we should do.
You know
that
why?
too.
Because I'm sick and
I
tired of
love
seeing-
working at home.
Yeah, but I like working at home because, or I like when people work at home, not necessarily me.
Less cars on the road.
Thank you.
There's a lot of reasons why that's better.
Thank you.
There's a million reasons why that's better.
Oh my god.
Why have an entire population like driving into one city at once when you could just keep everybody away from each other? The infrastructure would suffer a lot less.
We could turn apartment buildings. I mean, business buildings.
Less emissions. You'd have to fix the roads less. You know, like restaurants would suffer at lunchtime. But
Yeah. No, I agree. Of course I agree. I brought up the point, but being able to work at home would be ideal.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
We have something important to talk about, though.
What is it? we gotta get to interesting topics now.
I feel like we've had a pretty constructive conversation.
We did, but not a lot of people care about what we just talked about.
No, but we can clip it.
We can clip it.
Don't forget, these things can be clipped. Very few people are
Chat,
watching
clip that?
Yeah, chat, clip that, please. The election
Oh no.
is in 2 days.
Oh goodness.
The election's in 2 days. And we're about to see.
So basically, I'm
Doc-
voting yes on question 5.
No, please don't. Please don't. I would spend another hour talking about why you should vote no on question 5.
Just vote yes.
Don't do that. Just don't do that.
Do it.
But. We're about to watch Donald Trump. I swear to God, he's going to win. We don't even need to
You
talk
should
about.
preface that by saying that you don't want him to win.
I don't want to talk about my personal policy. And when
I think you enjoy talking about it a lot.
I do. I do.
And I'm pretty sure you've talked about it before on here.
I
so
do. Well,
it's not like you're hiding it.
I will say that I don't want him to win, but that should be no surprise. I'm
You're a
from
libtard?
Massachusetts. Yeah, I'm stupid libtard. Stupid, dumb libtard with no original ideas. And I think 16,000 genders exist and women should have abortions. Good Lord. How could I ever be a libtard? Anyway.
You are.
I think either way, regardless if I'm libtarded or not,
Yeah, you are.
that Trump is going to win. I have seen more people my age be pro-Trump than probably.
Yeah, but people
than I
our
did
age
pro-Trump.
don't vote. They don't go on Tuesday.
No, they do go.
No,
on
they
Tuesday.
don't.
Except Harris. Harris doesn't go vote on Tuesday.
A lot of people could not be bothered to go. And you want to know why I know that? It's because
Why?
everybody I've talked about it to, they're all like, yeah, like Trump. And then they're like, yeah, but we'll never be Republican in Massachusetts anyway, so my vote doesn't matter. I've
Well,
heard that countless times.
That's a good point for
Because we are always going to be.
That's a fair point when you're talking about the presidential election, but like there are other things that matter in your life that are
Yeah.
not of the president being the
I
president.
think a lot more things.
Yeah.
Like, the president really doesn't matter all that much.
Significantly
in general.
more. Like you should be excited to go vote for everything else but the president.
Yeah, because the congressional vote is really what gets things done.
And like
not
voting
a
no on
single-
question 5.
I don't even know if.
Can you tell them to vote no on question 5? Please, because
sign the petition, though. And I can't forget that.
they have no idea about the position. They're just making.
But I do.
Yeah, but
I know about it, and you signed
I didn't
it.
sign it.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did.
You told me you did.
I retract that former statement. I
Yeah,
didn't
you
retract.
did-
Whatever, it doesn't matter. You want to fucking vote yes on question 5
I'm
and
not,
be an
I'm not
ass?
gonna do it. I'm just telling them to.
You're gonna vote no. Okay, so
Thinking about it.
So wait, time out. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. So you were saying that you think that kids our age don't want to go and vote, especially
Not if they're
specifically.
Trump supporters.
Okay, that's specifically Trump supporters.
They don't be bothered.
So then, do you have a right to complain
Oh,
if you're a Trump supporter? Like,
if you don't
for
vote,
the
you
next
don't have the
four-
right. If you don't
Yeah.
vote, you don't have the right to complain about anything for 4 years.
Yeah, for
maybe
4
even
years.
8. Maybe even 8.
Why 8?
Because a lot of what happens in the next 4 years
Oh, fair
affects
enough.
the next 4 after that
Yeah.
consecutively. because whoever the president is going to try to redo or retract everything.
Harris, catch him.
So what I'm saying is that people are so quick to complain, but then they don't even want to go and vote.
Yeah, which is weird to me.
Which really upsets me.
It's very weird to me.
Because I can complain if the person I voted for is doing a bad job, or if I voted for somebody
Yeah.
and they didn't win.
Absolutely.
But like, you're gonna sit there and tell me that you're gonna complain about.
I read a paper in school that said that we should only allow. I am totally dumbing down this. I'll take your.
You see what I deal with? They're watching it.
I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna clip that and post it on my own Instagram page. That's so my French girlfriend can see it.
Shut up.
Shut up, Lou. Shut up, Luquisa. Anyway. This has been a crazy year for relationships, and we're not going to talk about that right now because that no one really gets what we're going to be talking about. But
there's too much lore, but yes, it has been. 2024 has been both creative and destructive.
Yeah, violently. Right, Harris?
For many, many people. Way to call him out, by the way.
You're welcome.
You didn't
I call myself out too.
Fair. But not just you two, but plenty of people. And you know, I don't think change is a bad thing. I think everything that happens to you in life kind of crafts you.
What if you get cancer?
Sharpens you.
That's pretty bad change.
Why'd you say that? Why did you say that?
Well, I mean, if we're just gonna be arbitrary about our thoughts, then fuck it. Cancer is a good positive change.
And this is why I'm voting yes. Because of him. But yes, cancer is a very bad thing. We know that. We know that to be true.
You sure?
I don't know. I mean, if you ask the libtards,
what if Hitler had cancer? Be a good thing then. Everything's subjective.
I think that would be worse, arguably, because
if Hitler had cancer,
if he thought he had a shorter lifespan, he would have done even more diabolical.
What if he had cancer when he was in art school?
Maybe they would have let him in.
Maybe he would have had better art.
Maybe they would have let him in.
He would have better art because he'd be like way more paint.
It would just be a lot more blue paint being used.
Yeah.
Throw back to the Picasso Museum when there was just a whole room in the 40s of 40s Picasso, just all blue. It was just sad.
Just sad boy era.
It's like, damn.
But I there was something I wanted to bring up before we switch topics, and I'm okay that we did, but
I already forget the topic.
It was about I read an article in school that I had that said that we should have only. This is really this is not. I'm so dumbing down this argument, but it was an argument for egalitarianism, and it's saying that only smart people should vote. Essentially, votes should matter. Essentially, kind of.
I could see that, but what constitutes smart?
The person who wrote this, and I'm totally forgetting the name right now. I'd like to blame it on the wine, but it's because I forget their name, regardless of the wine or not. The argument was that you would have an examination that you'd have to take about general political knowledge, and if you passed that examination, then you'd be qualified.
So they were proficient on the MCAS, and then they get to vote?
No, political knowledge, not your reading comprehension.
But they're trying to get rid of that too, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. I think that's question 2.
They should.
No?
They should get rid of
it.
Is that really?
Question 2 or question 4?
See, I'm talking about wanting to vote for things, and I don't even know what question 2 is. So.
There's one that's trying to eliminate the MCAS.
Fuck it, yeah, absolutely.
I think most people will agree with that.
We should get rid of standardized testing in general.
I think testing's a poor way to obtain statistics on how knowledgeable your students are. I mean, I don't have a solution for how you could do that. Maybe like activity-based, like assignment-based, do different types of assignments. Because there's a very clear study regarding different types of learning attributes and like spatial learning, like what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That whatever that concept is called. And not everybody falls into the typical learning category. Some people are better hands-on. So I think classes encompassing different assignments throughout the year of all different types of learning creates a better average of knowledge grading. Or like learning grades.
I think we should be most focused on making well-educated citizens and things that matter the most. and the MCAS doesn't do that. What was the last thing I said?
You were talking about the different ways of learning, like the MCAS doesn't constitute.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty again
I kicked the wire out of the camera.
for the second time.
Is that what I said? For
Technically,
the first time?
yeah, you said that the first time too. Even though that was both the same thing
Both
happened
times.
twice and it wasn't that. So
Holy shit! I'd love to keep this on, but now I'm gonna just totally.
my face is heating up.
Wow! Are you hot?
I took my sweater off. So, fine.
I think
Is it the wine
it's
or
a
is-
little wine related,
No,
but it's also a little hot in here.
It's
hot.
a little.
That
That's
turned
hot,
that,
right?
that,
Okay.
that turned back on.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, bro.
That definitely turned back on.
Great. Now I'm gonna be talking about nonsense, and I'm wearing a St. John's Prep jersey.
Yeah,
Or-
but that's not yours though. You borrowed that
It's
from a
not mine.
friend.
It's not mine at all.
So
I've never been to that.
Not
school.
related to that school at
And
all.
I look like a twink in this, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
Didn't change from pulling the jacket off.
Thanks, asshole.
You complimented my outfit, and I'm just clowning you.
Literally.
I only
I'm
did
gonna
that
start
because
interrupting you
I
some
only,
more, you
I only
fucking
did that
bitch.
because you opened up the door to being talking about that. No, but yeah, basically I have my favorite new shoes on.
Yeah, the people
Marshalls,
listen.
$20.
Really?
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger shoes. Marshalls, $20. They have buckles on them. I got buckles on my shoes for $20.
So
You told somebody that in the Revolutionary War days, they put you on a stake. You'd be like, nope, he's a witch.
listen, I found out the other day for the first time. This is how dumb I am. That I always thought it was an accent thing. I always thought it was like, oh, it's like that's the cool way to say it.
What?
I always thought Louis Vuitton, or whatever, Louis Vuitton,
Yeah.
and Louboutin.
No, those are
Those are two
completely
different
different brands.
No
One of them-
idea.
One of them is far more expensive than
I
the
had
other.
no idea. You know who
Yeah.
told me? You know what to put me in my place?
Lou?
Was Lou.
Yeah, because that's a French. They're both French.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you know, like Louis
Vuitton is
Vuitton's,
like-
they got the red bottoms. Da, da, da,
that's
da.
like bread.
Yeah,
That's like serious bread.
yeah. And the entire time I dated my ex, I thought that every time her mom was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take my Louis Vuittons," and I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
everyone has Louis Vuittons now.
Yeah.
Good
no,
for you."
no,
Oh,
they're
okay.
not the same at all.
They're
But
not
there's
the
also
same.
there's a similar thing. Is it? I almost want to say like, it's Dior, and then there's like another.
Dior.
No, there's like, or maybe it's that one. I don't know. I could have swore there's two brands that have like similar names, just like that, but it's not Louis Vuitton. It's like Christian Dior and Dior are like two different brands or something.
Oh, they are.
I maybe it's like something like that. I could be wrong.
Interesting. Well, you'd
don't
you'd
know.
have me because you probably have a better idea, Harrison. I do,
Because
at
when
least.
I went to LA, the only reason I know this because when I went to LA, and if you could fact check this if you want, I was on Rodeo Drive, and there's a Dior store, which is like your typical like Dior logo with the
Mhm.
D like normal stuff, and then there's Christian Dior, which is a different brand. Could be a subsidiary, but it's not the same store. And
Interesting.
for that reason.
Maybe one's
Not
like the
gonna be
more
different.
exclusive.
Yeah, if you could fact check that, that would be great, actually.
Here's my
Yeah.
thing. Here's my thing. I wanted to get the reason why I even brought it up in the first place is because I wanted to get Lou a pair of shoes for Christmas.
Okay.
And then I realized that Louis Vuitton and Louboutin are not the same thing. But now I have a question.
They're pronounced more similarly if you use a French accent. But
Louis Vuitton,
if you're like an American person, you're saying Louboutin. Like that's like how
Louboutin.
Louboutin.
Then you push
Like
your
those are
glasses
like
up.
that's how like the Californian like LA girls
Yeah.
say that. Like I got my Louboutins, you know what I mean? Like chat clip that. Because I just look mad fruity doing that. But then Louis Vuitton is like you clearly pronounce the difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
So over there, doubt you'd even know the difference if somebody said both of them to you in the same sentence.
But here's my question. How soon is it? Is it weird for
not
me
weird.
to buy
No.
her Louboutins
No.
at this stage?
If you have the money to do it, do it. But if you don't, I think she'll understand.
By the way,
It's
only
definitely not too early.
Dior and Christian Dior are the same thing.
They are?
Yep.
Okay, maybe it was something else I was thinking.
Check with
I
that.
appreciate that.
Clip this.
Sorry, I'm still voting yes.
So you don't think it's too weird? Okay, let me ask you another question. So fine. I can understand that perspective. If you have the money
It's
to
a
do it.
feeling you have.
Yeah, I feel like I want to do this.
If you
for
know that that the person's worth buying something like that for and you can do it,
Yeah.
then do it. You know what I mean?
So then let me ask you this. This has nothing to do with my current situation whatsoever. What is like a respectable amount of time to ask somebody to get engaged? Like a year.
Again,
2 years?
it's a feeling thing.
No, I can't accept that as an answer.
But realistically, if I'm gonna put a number on it, I think because I've been in relationships for like, I've been in a 3-year relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's like a feeling thing. You could know somebody for 6 months and have a deeper connection with them for somebody that you've met and you were with for 5 years. So
Yeah.
I stand tall on the feeling and internal knowledge and gut feeling thing, but
There's got to be some
if I'm gonna put like a minimum, absolute minimum date on it, I think a year.
At least a year.
You're not even gonna even think about it within a year.
I didn't think about this when I asked you the question, but now I have thought about it since I've asked you the question, and it's at least you have to live with them for some time.
Oh, 100%.
You could be a year-long distance versus...
You cannot engage without living with that person.
Yeah.
Because they're not the same person.
Yeah.
So even if you see them 7 days a week, I don't care. If you share a space with somebody, different. Every time.
What if they don't know how to unclog a toilet or something?
That's fine. But you gotta know that you can work with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're somebody who's dead set, I'm never unclogging a toilet in my life, and if my partner can't do it, not getting married, then yeah. You know what I mean? That's something like a stupid example.
Yeah. No.
It could be like...
I'll put it on the table. So.
It could be like they don't say good morning when you wake up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like little things. Like, what bothers you and what doesn't. And you don't know that until you share a space and live with somebody for a period of time.
You're not going to say
give
marriage.
it a month, 2 months, like, you get sick of each other after that, whatever, like... But you need to know that you can share a space with that person eternally, and you don't know that unless you've done it.
Marriage in itself is such a weird concept. When you really think...
It's definitely against everything that has to do with nature.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Which is why people struggle with this so much, and I get it. I don't fault anybody who's ever divorced, because that's not a thing that we were intended to do. We created that. Humans created that concept.
Well, hold on. Are you saying that the concept of marriage, which obviously is a human concept, a human-made concept?
Monogamy is not natural. It's not.
For humans, you're saying. I mean, there are
really for like
there are species.
I could
that
say
are
probably
monogamous.
like confidently 95% of species.
Fair enough, but there are still whatever the percentages. There are still percentage of species that do mate for life.
But the species that we derive from doesn't.
Like chimps.
Yeah. So why do we do it? Like
why do we do it?
I'm not. It's probably a lot to do with religious background. Like that's just how humans decided. Because if we were all just animals,
I disagree.
With no concept of anything, we're not gonna do that. It's not how that works.
I think it came first
to.
from a jealousy aspect, and then integrated itself into religion, and then integrated itself into like a non-religious format.
But yeah, maybe the initial thought was jealousy, and
they were like,
person
how do I
writing the script
justify
was
this?
like, yeah, we're not gonna do this.
How do I justify that? My ex cheated on me. How do I say that was morally wrong? She's going to hell for the rest of her life.
I mean, I'm like as new as I am into religion and whatnot, and kind of diving into it a little bit. I don't know the answer to that, but I would assume that it just probably, I think the religious aspect of it and the reason why it still is like today the biggest thing is I think it has to do with discipline and like being able to like keep yourself on one track and not be what somebody would call unholy, I guess.
Yeah.
And like keeping yourself from, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there was a stigma around polygamy.
I mean, one thing that's beneficial about monogamy is that if everyone in theory was like truly monogamous, then you could like limit the spread of like disease.
Yeah,
so
but
there could be like
that wasn't the initial.
But there could be an evolutionary drive that like, well, actually, like, who knows? I don't know.
That was the initial. That was not the initial thought. I could tell you that for sure because we weren't that smart back then. But
no, but by
it definitely helps.
But by having that be true, like through evolution, maybe that the want to be sexually exclusive comes from this subconscious idea of like disease. I'm not saying that like the same way that like our immune system exists, not because we knew that bacteria exists, like is the same reason that like maybe we were persuaded to be monogamous. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to offer solutions.
every other group of species that lives today that didn't follow that still lives. I don't think any species has been eliminated off the earth because of sexual disease.
No, I agree.
So
I agree. Doesn't mean that
would it
there's
make
not
a
selective
would it make a
pressures,
species more like strong in that sense and like yeah, it would, but like I don't think it'll necessarily affect them deep enough.
I think the want for marriage.
I don't think a lot of species mate for pleasure.
That is true.
As much, so like they don't really care about that.
Or at least I don't
it's
know.
all natural.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
It's just for them to know. They don't even have like a desire to do it. It's just like I need to.
Yeah, it's like eating.
So, yeah, they're like I need to do this at this time of year.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah. The seeds are growing. I guess I gotta spread mine. Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
I think the concept of marriage is kind of weird. How am I supposed to know for the rest of my life that I'm going to commit myself to you and have the same feelings and there's not somebody else that's so...
I can't even debate you.
I don't. It doesn't even need to be a debate. I'm not even insinuating that.
I like the idea of trying to do that, but in reality, as like humans and as animals with slightly more complex minds, I could totally get behind saying that it might not make sense. Like,
yeah,
nothing is certain, so why try to make that certain? I guess.
I don't know, I feel like it's a waste of time. You know, in the U.S., it's like 50%.
Yeah, it's 50%.
50%.
Yeah. So why like?
Imagine a plane flew.
I wouldn't get on that plane. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
So would you get on that plane if the plane was marriage?
No. But I want to. That's the problem. I want to get on the plane. It's like I know that it's gonna happen, and I still want to get on the plane.
I think that's different though, because there's people who could mutually say like I'm committing to you for life without having to put that label on it. And if you and your partner can do that, then you guys win the game. Because you're not falling into the societal need to put a label on it.
And then the question is that like, can you still be married or in love with somebody, but have sexual relationships with somebody else? I mean, I don't know. That's also true.
I mean, it happened.
I mean, like I imagine that if you were somebody that wasn't jealous, just because you had sex with somebody else, doesn't mean that like our connection that we have is any less special.
That person has to differentiate the sexual connection from the emotional and mental connection. But if they can't do that, which most people, I'd say like 99%.
But why? And I think it's
because of indoctrination of societal.
Fine.
Like.
That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. We always know that that's the way you do it. And doing it a different way means that they don't love you. That's just what we believe.
They're not subscribing to this.
Because if we never knew that concept, we wouldn't think it. You know what I mean?
I guess my question is, what would we think?
If you did
what would we think in a tabula rasa?
You wouldn't. If you did the Men in Black thing on the whole Earth and just shut people off and said, "Nah, that's not in your memory anymore."
I'd just be fucking.
Monogamy would not exist. I could guarantee it.
That's a good answer.
That's what I'm saying.
I like that answer.
Yeah, it wouldn't exist. Because what other species does it?
That's close to us? I don't know.
That's close to us. Especially the ones that we derive from.
No. Orangutans don't even...
Even if they do,
no, they don't.
There's
I don't even know why
I would say a majority of
like
monkey... Like, they don't do it.
Yeah.
They don't. So what makes you think we would?
Wait, 1 second, though. Before we end the podcast, because we're basically done. And I think this is a good place to end. And I think it was an interesting conversation. Maybe because I'm drunk.
No, it was good. It was a good one.
Can you fact check... What's the closest relative to humans? Ask ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. We talked about it so much today.
It's so good.
What's the closest relative to humans that experiences monogamy? And put it in ChatGPT. Do you have ChatGPT?
Yep.
Fucking love it.
He's a college student. He has it.
Of course he does.
He's got the sauce.
You're a strange...
What was the question again?
What is the closest relative to humans that engages in monogamy? That's the question. I want to just do a chat. By the way, I agree with you. I'm not even fact checking.
Wipe out every memory of any sort of religious construct or societal construct. Wipe it clean. We don't do monogamy.
Well, what I think actually we do.
Not even close.
I think what we do is I want all of them, but nobody can have them.
Yeah, it would be like that.
Yeah, I think that's.
It would be the opposite of
You guys are monogamous to me, but
Um,
I'm not monogamous to you.
Gibbons are small apes. Yeah.
And they're monogamous.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, maybe ChatGPT could be wrong.
a section of a species that we came from. Not even the original one.
Gibbons.
We're talking a million years back.
Gibbons.
And then go back around and go a different section of the tree. That's what we're talking about.
Gibbons are small apes that often form lifelong pairs.
What other?
Lifelong pairs, but they don't have the actual emotional complexity to do monogamy. That's just sexual monogamy, not emotional monogamy. Like,
I think we're programmed.
You know what I mean?
No, hold on. See, we're basically done, and you just opened a can of worms. I think we're programmed for emotional monogamy, but not sexual monogamy, and that's the problem.
Maybe you just haven't experienced the desire to not have emotional monogamy, because I think a lot of people would disagree with you.
Wait, disagree with me in what sense?
And say that emotional monogamy doesn't exist either.
I agree with you that emotional monogamy does exist.
I didn't say that, though.
Okay.
It exists, but is it in our nature?
I think it is. Maybe, I don't know.
Your personal experiences tell you that it's not.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of it from like a veil of ignorance.
I think if you asked a majority of the population, a good chunk of them would say no. If they look at a female, they're like, I don't care. Like, they don't have any... And that's like...
But emotional monogamy is a consequence of relationships, though. Like,
yeah, but...
Like, I can't automatically just love somebody the way that I love somebody else just because I had sex with somebody else.
Okay.
I guess.
But you can share an equally as important emotional relationship with two people.
No, I don't agree.
Why?
It's hard to confide in solely one person because it takes time.
So hear me out.
It takes time to
hear me out. Emotional monogamy is not exclusive to a romantic relationship. Could you have an equal amount of compassion and love for a friend as you do a wife?
That's where compassion and what?
And love. Like that emotional connection for a friend and a romantic partner. That's where emotional monogamy.
If I take the Greek perspective, it's in.
No, take your perspective.
Well, because I'm going to take the Greek perspective and say that like there are different forms of love, so no.
So that's not emotional monogamy, that's emotional polygamy. Because it's not romantic, but you love me just as much as you love your wife.
My love for my wife is a different version of love than my love for you.
Which one's more important?
Okay, that's easy. Of course the love for your wife is more important because if it had to be...
For you.
For most people. I think for almost everybody.
So would you say that you love your mother more than your father? Is that emotional monogamy?
Yes.
You could say that.
I could say that. I could say that.
But
could you say that?
The average no. My parents are equal.
But
that's emotional polygamy.
So then
care for them.
Hold on. Then we've done something here. We've tiered something. You can have.
We haven't.
You can have. Hold on. You can have emotional. This conversation he's saying. You can have emotional polygamy for friends. Emotional.
So you're programmed for emotional polygamy
for your friends. So but the type of love that you have for your significant other is separate from this, and this love cannot be tiered though, or it can't be egalitarian for me. But I'm gonna extrapolate and say
in the Middle East they have multiple wives.
But they're stopping to do that. And what is the consequence? Hold on. Even though...
And they could probably throw most of them out at once if they wanted to.
I mean, you got a point.
If you have 10,
you're right.
If you have 10, you could throw 4 of them out and not care.
You are right. But
they don't have one that they love the most.
Here's the thing about their system is that I don't know how much it really considers, and maybe this is an incorrect stance to take. I don't know how much it considers the woman's perspective on love and marriage.
It doesn't, but that's a human wire that we're talking about.
So I'm not trying to talk about in the because I think what you're doing is correct, is to look at it from a framework of religion in this sense, but taking away from religion, like
not even necessarily religion, just reality. These things happen. The part that this is where we're gonna probably end it.
Yeah, I agree.
I can give you another rebuttal to this. But
sure.
What I'm gonna say is that as humans, nothing is impossible, and the complexity of our emotional ability is limitless. So the question that we're trying to answer right now doesn't even actually have an answer.
There's no answer to it.
Because my perspective on it and my experience on it alone are two different things. So what makes you think that I can make a statement for everybody in the world that are human? You can't.
You can't.
We're not wired to do anything. We're at this point we're completely and utterly malleable to the society that we grew up in. Or even,
which is what makes us human, I guess.
I guess, yeah. So the answer that we're looking for, and this is the finale, not even an answer to it. Call that a cliffhanger. You just wasted an hour of your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the opener to season 2 episode 1, Wine Review Wednesday by Planned Brotherhood. We're trying to figure it out. Everything, politics, monogamy, wine.
We're
grapes.
Figuring it all out, but we didn't figure out anything.
We figured out nothing.
We got nothing done here today, and neither did you.
Wow, and you just wasted time. And go do your homework and use ChatGPT. Good night.
Thank you.